have a question. Where the fuck are our kings at?
Don't worry, fellas, I got this. They're at work right now, saving so they can get their passport together so that they can go ahead and get a wife that's foreign who has traditional values. They're at work right now, saving for retirement for one, because they don't want to take the chance of marrying a woman who can take half of their shit. You've canceled them. You've silenced them. Because either you were spouting a feminist narrative that doesn't allow men to be men, or you were silent while your sisters did and you didn't check that shit. They're effeminate because they were raised by single mothers and denied contact with their fathers. They're effeminate because you socialized them in school to act like women instead of to be men. They're effeminate because you taught them everything about their masculinity was toxic. You've turned them into women or disenfranchised them.
She said she want to take some photos in her new bikini. So I don't mind being the photographer. Baby, go ahead. ¿Tú quieres fotos, mami? Okay, no problem. Yo estoy listo. Yo magnífico. Yo similar de fotográfico profesional. Sí, sí. Tú listo. Ahora, okay. I gotta turn this off and take some pictures. ¿Tú listo, mami? Ay, wow. ¡Wepa! Mami, ¿qué es lo que? Wow, wow, wow. All right, give me a minute. I'm going to come back. I got to take some pictures. I got some work to do. I'll get ready. Give me a minute. I'll be right back.
Te hicieron sexy y con sabrosura. Tú tienes la magia y tienes el sabor. Oye, mami sexy, acaba con todo. Tú tienes la magia, tú tienes sazón. Oye, mamacita, para romper con todo. La dueña de swing, la dueña de todo. La del más caché, la que tiene todo. La dueña de swing, la dueña de todo. La que tiene swing, para romper con todo.
Woo!
Y calentura, te hicieron bella, te hicieron dura, te hicieron sexy y con sabrosura. Tú tienes la magia y tienes el sabor. Oye, mami sexy, acaba con todo. Tú tienes la magia, tú tienes el sazón. Oye, mamacita, para romper con todo. Aprovechala y apriétala.
Right now, she and I are negotiating. I'm trying to get her to do some dances for me. Some of them sweet, sexy, Latina booty dances. Let's go talk about it. Yep, that's it.
Enjoy this day. I hope you're having a great day. I hope that you can hear me. If you can hear me, hit the number 1 button. Hit the number 1 button. You can hear me. Make sure you check in. Let me check. Let me know where you're checking in from, fellas. Let's get that out the way first. In addition to that, I want to go ahead and make this subscribers only. My man said, C. Fields said, thank you for coming to us consistently with quality insights, much love and respect, Dennis Sperling Unfiltered. Hey, man, I do the best I can. I know it's a lot of podcasters out there. It's a lot of people who have a lot to say, but what I try to do is, I try to give you guys quality stuff that I've actually researched. I believe heavily in, reviewing documentation and researching and preparing for each and every one of my shows. It's forced me to have to learn a lot about social issues. But in addition to that, it's presented me with the opportunity to share this with you all and show you how to process this information. They say what? They say the best way to hide something from a black man is to put it in a book. And so, recognizing that, it's easier for me to go ahead and look at those books and charts and bring that information to you brothers. That's what I like to do. But today we're going to hit a real tough topic. All right. This is one of those topics that are going to upset you. Is going to make you angry because it upsets the status quo. A big shout out to C. Fields. And why is that? Because I'm basically I'm shitting on your expectations and the culture that we live in right now. That's why. And we've been taught what? We've been taught to we've been taught to lionize certain criminal caricatures in the black community, right? You've all heard that. Big Meech, Rick Ross, right? These are heroes. These are our Robin Hoods, right? Well, what if I say these people were these men? They were not deserving of your respect. These men were not deserving of your love and appreciation and your admiration. That upsets what you've been used to. Your favorite rappers are drug dealers, aren't they? Huh? And what I wanted to do is point out to you that these guys are and always have been pariahs in the black community. They are predators. They're leeches. And the only reason you look up to them is because your culture is toxic and you've been told to do so. Okay? That's pretty much where I'm at. Now, some of you guys have seen the thumbnail. Before I get started, I want to point out to you this article. Let me see if I can pull this article up for you real quick. Because what I try to do is I try to provide you documentation for my statements. Now, this is the article. Some people are saying this is not real, this is fake. That's what I'm hearing. Some people are saying it, but when I look up this lady, Sandra Rose, who is the author of this article, and what does the article say? It says, Jenny Mai Jenkins and Jeezy raising their newborn child to be gender fluid. Jenny Mae Jenkins and a rapper, Jeezy J. Jenkins, finally revealed their newborn child's name, but the baby's gender is still secret because the baby is genderless. Sources say Jenny and Jeezy believe their child should decide what their gender will be. This is sources say this, right? So we don't know what these people say. So these are people close to these folks. They say expressing one's gender identity is a personal decision that a child should make on its own. Jenny, who is currently on maternity leave, allowed her co-stars to reveal her child's name on the Thursday episode of The Real. Adrian Ballin said, today is an extra exciting day because guess what? We have a baby J update. Welcome to the world of Monaco Mai Jenkins. All right. Now, here's the thing I want you to check out. When you Google this woman, what you'll find is, as a writer, let's check her out. We'll type in writer. She has a lot of articles about this gender thing, you know, gender this, gender that, gender fluidity. And she has books. She's an author. Woman's Guide to Self-Esteem. You see what I mean? So when she puts something out there, she's a feminist author, apparently. So when she puts something out there, it means something. That's why she can have her own small website. Understand? So we'll have to wait and see. All right. We'll wait and see exactly what's going on. But let me share something with you guys, right? Let me share something with you guys. My thoughts on it. So, as I said, the news article written by Sandra Rose, released Thursday, January 20th, 2022, indicates that Jenny Mai Jenkins and Jeezy are raising their newborn child to be gender fluid. This is not the first or last entertainer who is indoctrinating their children into that gender fluid agenda that they're doing to their children, right? And I'm sure there'll be other rappers and entertainers that will follow, because the best way to promote an agenda and its propaganda is to get somebody who is a public figure to do it. And here's the thing. I guarantee you that Jeezy's fans and many of the commenters will say things like, oh, that's on them, right? Or if they're happy, why does it matter to you? Or it's all about the love. And that's what they do today. If you have a problem with it, you the problem, right? And some people would just say trap or die and salute Jeezy, okay? So the problem is, or I should say, you know, I still wonder, right, if this is true or is it just something done to get clicks, right? And I say that because considering Jenny May was talking about submitting to her husband, Jeezy, that indicates to me that she wanted to play a traditional role and have a traditional family. And there's nothing traditional about having gender fluid children, okay? That said, the reason that I have to look at this, guys, the reason that I have to look at this is that Jeezy, Mr. Jenkins, is a self-professed drug dealer who did what? He sold death in the form of narcotics to his own people. That's not me saying that. That's in his records. Didn't Jeezy say that? Snowman, right? What does that mean? That's cocaine, right? I get it. It's flashy, it's fashionable. You guys look up to that. Most of you guys were raised on trap music or drill music. But what I want you to understand, when you were being raised, what did Jeezy tell you? Now, he told us, along with his predecessors, whether it be Eazy-E, Snoop Dogg, who else? Jay-Z, all these other guys that we look up to, that we lionize, they basically told black children to trap or die. And most of them did what? Ended up in prison, or they died, or they got criminal records now. So all these black drug dealers, what are they then? This is the message that they're saying. They're sellouts. They're agents of white supremacy. And here's the thing, agents of destruction, oftentimes they appear as the ones that they're sent to destroy. And that's what they did. They destroyed the black community in the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, and they're still doing it now. And they did it with the help of the government. The government which didn't want us around in the first place. The government has been trying to get us to get rid of ourselves since we were freed from slavery. So you shouldn't be surprised that he's trying to go mainstream and get as much money as he possibly can at the expense of what would be his own child, if this story is true. At this time, the quickest way for a black man to hit mainstream is to do what? Accept the alphabet agenda. We know that to be true, right? Shout out to Rob Mack. Now, here's the thing. I want y'all to listen to this. We blame feminism. We blame feminism for broken families. And in doing so, we blame white feminists who came in and said, you know what? You black women need to come over here with us. Don't we blame feminism? We do that all the time. I do it too. I tell you, these white feminists got in the black woman's head and told them to go off. Come on with us, girl. But the truth is, and is if you guys have heard me over the past year or two since I've been here, I've always had a special disdain for drug dealers, specifically black drug dealers. Because why? For number one, they sell poison. Number two, they sell their drugs to their own people. If you go to an Italian neighborhood, they got plenty of gangsters over there. They're notoriously known for their gangsterism. Matter of fact, the most of us, when we think of gangster, we think of Italian mafia gangsters. But what they didn't do is they didn't sell drugs in their own neighborhoods. Who is the biggest drug dealers on the minority side, aside from the American government? Latinos, Hispanics. The drugs come from Colombia, Peru, Bolivia, all these different places. But when you go places like East LA, the Hispanic drug dealers, they don't sell drugs in their own neighborhood. They don't let blacks come sell drugs to their own people. They don't sell drugs to their own mothers and fathers and sisters. You might get worked if you went over there with that. So what's the difference between the black drug dealers and these other drug dealers? Looking back, it's obvious, and that is that they have a sellout mentality. And it's been the same in the 70s. It's the same in the 80s. It's the same in the 90s. And these are the dope boys that we look up to. What do we find? It's usually a current or former drug dealer or some type of criminal that'll do whatever they can do for the bag. These are your comedians, your black comedians. These are your look at them. These are your comedians and your actors. Look at them. Do anything for the bag. So when I ask you this question, fellas, who really destroyed the fabric of the black home? Was it the white feminists and their influence over black women? Or was it the black dope dealers that poisoned our neighborhoods and left our communities in shambles? See, the black drug dealer is a foul and destructive creature, but we have lionized him in the black community. It's so bad that these former drug dealers, who should be on the level of pedophiles and rapists, will gladly tell you that they sold drugs. It's as if it's some sort of rite of passage. It is as if we glorify them for that. Now, here's the crazy thing. Black people will do everything they can to defend and deflect and protect the black drug dealer and deflect from the harm that he caused. What do they say? They'll say, well, Walgreens and CVS, they sell drugs too. Now, here's the thing. Defending dope dealers by pointing out that CVS and Walgreens sell drugs tells the entire story of how backwards and toxic that the black community has become. If you cannot find that drug dealers are problematic to a healthy community, then there's something innately wrong with the way you are processing information. The truth about a lot of black men, this is gonna hurt some feelings. The truth is, fellas, they sold drugs in our community. That's the truth. So on the flip side, we are blaming black American women for joining up with the white feminists. But what about our role that we played as black men? And I know many of you are young. Many of you weren't around the 80s, but you still condone that drug dealer behavior. Here's the crazy thing. There's a whole lot of men who host podcasts in the so-called black manosphere that fall under that category. And what category is that? Drug dealers and former drug dealers. Ironically, it's these men that lodge complaints about the black community and the black woman for the destruction of the black community, when instead they should blame themselves for poisoning their community and killing their own people. That's my intro. We will be right back. You guys hang in there.
Hey, what's up, everybody? If you appreciate the format and you appreciate what we're doing here, then make sure you contribute to the Cash App. Make sure you contribute to the PayPal. Make sure you donate to the Super Chat. It's only you and your contributions that keep this thing going. Thanks.
Paid actor.
I will scream and I will holler. Then I'll scream and holler some more, saying absolutely
And if you look at the
nothing.
Netherlands with their egalitarian society in the world, they've never believed in things that women and men have sorted themselves into their places. Women tend to do more on the science, women tend to do more on the infrastructure side, women tend to do more on the side, women tend to do more on the social work, detail, administrative side. Men and women know how to do these things. So we tend to go towards these extremes. And what I'm saying is, women are different for men and women are different for a reason. Yes. Women have their place. Women have their place. But the place of a man has been devalued so much. Even just trying to say that men deserve anything is almost offensive. Where we feel like we got a balance advantage. Men have had an advantage. You mean men have had an advantage in the world that men built?
With me, I appreciate the contributions. I appreciate what you guys do. And this is a tough subject. This is going to get hit home. And I don't expect to win any fans from this. But this is what needs to be said. At some point, strong black men need to stand up. Now, if you consider yourself a strong black man, then that means you're ready to prosecute the difficult wars. Let's talk about, it's easy to pull down the low-hanging fruit. Y'all love that. When you come here and I talk about the twerkers and these loudmouth women and all that, but there's a reason why they out of pocket. They're out of pocket because you let them get out of pocket. And you haven't been able to put them back in pocket. See, women follow men who are strong. Women need leaders. But if you have failed to lead, you can't be mad at these women for saying, I'm not following you. I know that's painful to hear, but it's the truth. And what does the Bible say? And even though this is not a Sunday sermon, the truth will set you free. And the other thing is, when you speak the truth, God is with you. So we're going to speak the truth today. Let's talk about the war on drugs and race. President Nixon launched the war on drugs in a campaign in the 1970s. And his legacy still exists today. Now, I want to lay out a foundation for you guys so you can understand what was going on back then. From 1955 to about 1970, black folks was wearing the United States government out. You had protests. You had black people demanding rights. They were marching in the street. They were moving north. They were bringing the country to its knees. In the meantime, you also had the Vietnam War going on. And initially, it was supported by the majority of Americans. But then after that, the support for the war began to wane. So you had all these black men, these soldiers and Marines and sailors coming back from Vietnam, and they had been militarized. And what have I told you about black men who come back from war? What do we know about them? What do we know about these soldiers? These soldiers are not the same people they were when they went over there. They're not the typical Negroes they were coming up here. They have been what? They've been turned into warriors. And what you can't do is oppress a warrior for too long, because he will fight back. So now you got 1950 all the way to 1970. These black men have come back. They are wearing the United States government out. They are wearing the local police forces out. And so what do? They have to come up with some sort of plan to do what? Eliminate the power source, the power base of the black community. And what is the power base of the black community? It is the black man, the black woman, and the black child together making a black family. So, under the auspices of a war on drugs, knowing that what? Number one, many of those black soldiers, Marines, sailors came back addicted to drugs. They upped the ante on the drug laws. Now, Nixon said that his campaign attempted to bring attention and awareness to the impact of drugs and what they had on the American people. At that point, he signed the Controlled Substance Act in 1970 that helped classify and regulate dangerous drugs on paper. The campaign helped people gain education on side effects and drugs, and LSD and heroin and blah, 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 blah. Nixon criminalized drugs like marijuana. Now, what do we learn from a few weeks ago? The vast majority of people who are being arrested come in on marijuana. What do? Who's smoking marijuana the most? White people. Who's arrested for smoking marijuana the most? Black people. So Nixon criminalized drugs like marijuana, which many believe brought harmful stereotypes to the hippie or anti-war left population, but also to the black population. In addition, Nixon his harsh punishment for drugs like heroin and crack cocaine crippled the black community in the 1970s and created stereotypes and harsh jail sentences for black people. Criminalizing drugs like heroin and crack cocaine was not just created to penalize black Americans, as an overdose from these drugs can be fatal. Okay, so what am I trying to explain to you guys? What I'm trying to explain to you is pump drugs into the black community, because remember, there's always been a gateway between South America and the East Asia, and provided by the government some kind of way. Either they're looking the other way, or like with the Iran-Contra affair, they're directly benefiting from it. So you got the government in conspiracy with who? You got the government in conspiracy with opportunistic black men and some women, but mostly black men in the black community, to do what? To profit from the addiction of crack cocaine and heroin and marijuana. Now, I'm not putting marijuana in the same category as crack cocaine and heroin and methamphetamines, but what I am saying, when you put these ultra addictive substances in the black community, and people have a drug culture already, and they use it, you use it one time and you stuck on it, and you got what? You know there's going to be a lot of people using it. And so now you got these opportunistic black men who are willing to what? Put everything else to the side to get this money, even the love for their own people. Think about it. We just came out of I'm Black and I'm Proud, Brothers Stick Together. And you got this group of black men in every city willing to sell drugs to their own people amidst all this brotherly love. What kind of individuals are they? Now, Nixon believed the drug use, especially when done by the youth, was a form of social rebellion, negatively impacting and weakening America. Some believe Nixon had underlying motives for his campaigns, including targeting black people and the anti-war left, which was what he wanted to do. Okay. Now, there's a guy named John Ehrlichman, and he called the Watergate conspiracy. He's called the Watergate conspirator. He spoke about how Nixon alleged race and anti-war left discrimination, right? And what did he say? He said this on CNN candidly. The Nixon campaign in 1968 and the Nixon White House after that had two enemies, the anti-war left and black people, because black people were giving them hell. You see? And what else did he say? You say, you understand what I'm saying? We know we couldn't make it illegal to be either against the war or to be black, but getting the public to associate the hippies with marijuana and the black people with heroin, and then criminalizing both heavily would cause, we could disrupt their communities. We could arrest their leaders, raid their homes, break up their meetings, and vilify them night after night on evening news. Did we know we were lying about drugs? Of course we did. This was planned. This attack on black people was planned. Let's get them addicted to drugs that we pumped over here. We'll get their own people to sell it to them, and then we'll incarcerate not only the users, but the sellers. It's no different than what they did when they captured us and brought us from the West Coast. Not only they bought the ones on the boat that sold them the Africans, and the ones that were sold to them. So you might be right next to the dude that snatched you out, the guys that snatch you out of your village. He's on the boat with you. So we all locked down. Now, a modern effect and strong example of drug laws and race and sentencing includes that surrounding crack and powder cocaine. According to Vox, the 1986 Anti-Drug Abuse Act created a 100-to-1 disparity between the amount of crack cocaine that triggers a federal mandatory sentence versus powder cocaine. This means that 5 grams of crack equated to a 5-year sentence, where 500 grams of powder cocaine will warrant the same sentence. Now, what does that mean? And why is that important? Well, the first thing, in 2019, officials noticed that 81% of the convicted crack offenders were black. Many believe it's because powder cocaine was associated with white populations, where crack cocaine was associated with black population. Black cocaine was a rich man's drug. You couldn't afford a powder. That was too much. But if you mix it with a little baking soda and some cocaine and it turns to crack, you can still get high. It's a cheap man's form of cocaine. That's what crack was. And so the government knew it. That's why they did it. And they call it rock on the East Coast, but it's the same thing. It's a crystallized form of cocaine that's smokable, as opposed to the process of snorting it and all that stuff. They smoke it. It gives you that intense high, and bam, you hooked. And so they criminalized crack, which technically has far less cocaine in it than some powder cocaine. But by criminalizing, they get a chance to what? Bam, they get you. It's what if it's no different than saying it's illegal to eat fried chicken and have cookouts, right? Not that white people don't eat fried chicken, not that they don't have cookouts, but that's something culturally that we do. So what happens? It presents them with an opportunity to kick in your front door. That's what I'm saying. And that's what they did. When I tell you this, they always come at you from the things you love. There are cultural differences between blacks, whites, Hispanics, Asians, whatever. So if if they criminalize your cultural differences, they codified our color as illegal, and that's why they were able to enslave us. You can't escape that. It's illegal to be free and be black. Basically, that's what slavery was about. The presumption is that if you are a black person, you're a slave, or you deserve to be one, or you're a lesser citizen. So they criminalize your characteristics, no different than criminalizing your culture. Now, some of the consequences of the drug war. Recently, several media outlets have questioned if the war on drugs has done any good. It depends on who you look at. It's destroyed the black community, and that was the goal, right? So depending on how you look at it. Now, recent NBC report suggested that the war on drugs may have been less effective than planned in response to the recent surge of American drug use in the last 50 years. With the rising number of opioid overdoses and drug abuse related to COVID-19 mental and emotional health challenges, America has recently spent over $1 trillion fighting drug addiction. This has led many people to believe the war on drug campaign has not done much over the years for the American people. Now, see, here's the problem, right? Here's the problem that I want you to understand. You got the government saying, you got people like Nixon who started the drug war. They're talking out of one side of their mouth. They got the effect that they wanted. They got a chance to decimate the black community. They got a chance to undermine the base, which was producing all these dynamic leaders like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. They had to get rid of all that. And they did it. How did they do it? They broke up the black family with the help of these black drug dealers. So what's been the effect for black people? You got a disproportionate number of arrests and racial stereotypes that remain visible. Black people comprise 43%, and whites 55% of the people convicted of drug felonies in state courts. Black people account for 53.5%, and whites 33.3% of persons admitted to state courts for new convictions of drug offenses, because the laws are still on the books that still target you. That's what we're dealing with. There was a Human Rights News article penned about 2 years ago, and it mentioned that the UN believes that the state should face racial discrimination in the enforcement of drug laws. They further acknowledge that black people endure more consequences, noting how people of African descent are disproportionately affected by drugs and drug policies. The result has left many out of society, barred from wide range of employment opportunities, educational opportunities, no social security or other benefits. And this doesn't include the police brutality that many black people have to deal with, and the mistrust that we have from the police, and the racial profiling that we have to deal with, the discrimination in medical professions, right? Even with the prescription of medications. It's crazy. The disparities in prescribed opioids occur as some doctors feel black patients are physically stronger and white patients, accounting for why 29% of black patients are less likely to be prescribed. Other media outlets have reported black people do not use drugs any more than their white counterparts, but suffer more frequent, longer, and harsher prison sentences for doing so. The crazy thing about the opioid crisis, if you look back in the 1990s and early 2000s, a lot of these young people who are addicted to meth now, they would break into their parents' cabinets and get these same painkillers that black folks weren't prescribed by the doctors. So the mom was using, the dad was using it, and the children start using it. Pop that and some alcohol, bam. Now, since they can't get it anymore, they turn to heroin. You see, that's where we at. It's ironic how it happened. They decided we don't want to give black folks these pills because they don't need it. They can deal with this pain. We'll give it to these white folks. And now you got these pills laying around the house. So little Timmy, he pops some pain pills and drinks some alcohol, and now he's addicted to it 20 years later. But see, we cannot forget that all of these issues that we're dealing with would not have happened if our men, if our brothers had performed a protective shield around our community and wouldn't let outsiders come sell dope to our own people and refuse to let our own people sell dope to our own people. How can our sisters respect us? How can our children respect us, brothers? Now, I'm putting you in the past. I'm putting you back 40 years ago. It's 1980. It's 1985. Everybody's selling crack cocaine. You see women and children participating in it. Either they're using it, selling it, distributing or whatever. They're participating. But it's only going in a circle. It's going from one black hand to another black hand to another black person consuming it. And you see the destruction. Why is it that the rest of these black communities, why is it that the rest of these communities survived that drug epidemic and we didn't in the 1980s? And if you don't believe that drugs are tearing families apart, look what's happened to the black and white community right now with this opioid crisis. White women and black, all these people, they're dealing with it. You see? Now, what has been the effect of social mobility of black Americans? It suffered collateral damage from this war on drugs. Being convicted of a crime has devastating effects on the employment prospects and incomes of ex-felons and their children. This is what studies have shown. These findings are often used to motivate efforts to reduce criminal behavior. They should also motivate changes in criminal justice system, which unfairly punishes black Americans, often for victimless crimes that whites are at least as likely to commit. But the bottom line is, family, it's us selling drugs to us. That's how we ended up with 1 in 3 black men in prison. See, we don't like to admit the fact that these drug-related crimes are not always black men selling drugs. More often than not, they're black men who are caught using drugs. Oftentimes, the drug dealer is also the drug abuser. An estimated 1/3 of black male Americans will spend time in state prison at some point in their life, more than double the rate from the 1970s. Before them drugs hit the hood and we start selling it. That is double the rate now. And over 5 times higher than the rate of white males. So the question is, what's driving this imprisonment of black men? The arrest data show a striking trend. Arrests of blacks have fallen for nonviolent property crimes, but soared for drug-related crimes. As of 2021, drug crimes comprise 14% of all arrests and miscellaneous categories that includes drug paraphernalia, possession, comprise an additional 31% of all arrests. Just 6% and 14% arrests were for violent and property crime. What do you think about that? Over half the drug arrests, damn near half the arrests of black people for drugs. Think about that. And we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to be right back.
Paid actor. I will scream and I will holler. Then I'll scream and holler some more, saying absolutely nothing.
You have a choice in legal representation. And in making that choice, do you want an attorney with a made-for-TV nickname to represent you in your serious car wreck claim?
I will growl, kick, and scream.
My name is Dennis Sperling. If you've been involved in a motor vehicle accident, contact me toll-free at 866-529-2444. The choice is yours.
All right. What's up, you guys? I am back. Oops, getting my screen ready. I want you guys to check this out. If you're enjoying this, if you find this interesting, make sure you hit the share button. All right. Check this out. Y'all looking at this chart? This is from blackdemographics.com. You can hear me, hit the number 1 button. Okay? Hit the number 1 button if you can hear me. Hit the number 1 button if you can hear me, guys. And you know I love you, but we got to speak the truth to each other. Big shout out to my man Volcanus. What's up, Volcanus? It's been a minute. My man Volcanus is back. What's up? He said like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And always remember, Uncle D is a legend. Never forget that. Thank you so much, Volcanus. That's one of my fellas from way, like maybe 6, 7, 8 months ago. I ain't seen him in a minute. Barry Little, shout out to him. Thank you so much for the contribution. Cozy Corner, thank you too. From Soundview, he's speaking all facts. Thank you so much, sir. My man Rob Mack, good looking out, bro. All my other C Shields, thank you so much. Said thank you for I talked about earlier. He said thank you for coming to us consistently with quality insights. Much love and respect, Dennis Sperling. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate that. So let's go ahead and continue. Right? Let's look at this chart. Okay. Shout out to my man Broken Blade too. Hit the number 1 button, guys. Get the likes up. Got to make sure we show the algorithm who's boss. So I need you guys to make sure you contribute to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. But also make sure you do what? Hit that W button, right? And remember, the only folks in here who can speak, the only people who can comment are going to be people who subscribe. You know, that way we keep the trolls out. That's the number 1 thing. And keep it kosher. You guys got to kick in. You don't have to pay. You don't have to, make donations. I appreciate those of you who do. But I definitely need you to subscribe to the channel. You want to participate. All right. So I want y'all to notice something on this chart. Okay. Oh, let me say this. If you want to do a private consultation, hour-long consultation, hit me up at sperlingdennis@gmail.com. That's written down on the bottom of it. Okay. A lot of people ask me a lot of questions and they need guidance and whatnot like that. I don't mind talking to you. If I can help you, I'm sure I can with whatever issues you have, banking, travel, legal issues, starting your own company. Just hit me up at sperlingdennis@gmail.com. But in the meantime, let's look at this chart. So what do you notice here? It says black women more likely to be married than white women. All right. Back in the 1890s, this is fresh out of slavery, when white supremacy was at its highest for the black community. It was little over, it was like 6%. Only 6% of black women were never married. It hovered. You know what I'm saying? Look at that. Now, you see a little spike. Every now and then you'll see a little spike. What's that about? Well, that's World War I. Okay? Bam, let's look at it again. 1940, World War II, right? You see what I'm saying? Brothers dying a little bit here and there, So it's less of them that can get married. Now, what's crazy is when feminism hits the black community from about 1960 to 1970, you see a spike, but you see a real spike in the 1980s, right? Look at this. It's damn near 10%. This is the time here when crack cocaine and heroin hit the black neighborhood from here to here, this 10-year time period. Look at that. It went from 7% to it went from 6-7% to 9%. And then from here, in the 1980 to the 1990s, 20-year time period, it shot up like 5 or 6%. And then it shot up again. So now in the 20-year time period, it's triple. You see what I'm saying? Or double. From here to here, look at that. Never married. Look at that, man. You guys see that? Now, yeah, feminism is attributable to some of that. It got in some of those women's ears. But let's think about who the feminists were. Let's think about that. In order to be a feminist, you have to be indoctrinated, right? What does that require? You got to go somewhere to be indoctrinated. Normally, that's a university. From 1980 to 1990, it wasn't that many black women going to college. From 1980 to 2000, you didn't have this many women making the decision if they was going to college and got indoctrinated, so they straight up feminists. But what they did experience was the damage in the black community from 1970, where it was seeded, to 1980 when it began to take off. It's the drugs that turned your mama into a whore. It's the drugs, the heroin, that had your daddy sitting in the alley performing sexual acts on other men. It's the drugs that cause for your little brothers and sisters to be walking down the street with no clothes on and no money because your parents done took the welfare check and spent it on somebody else or sold their house, their cars. Back then they called them VCRs, everything they had to supply that habit. So you didn't have any place to live. It was the drugs that did that. It was the dope that destroyed the black household. You can't live with a crackhead. You can't live with a crackhead, brothers. Some of y'all was raised by crackheads and had to stay there. And you know how impossible it is. You living with a crackhead? Come on, man. You know that. It's hard enough to live down the street from a crackhead. Imagine living with a crackhead. Imagine what people, that's you marrying a crackhead, men and women. You know that's impossible. Now imagine you got 2 or 3 million of them concentrated in the black community. I've told you guys this before, and I'm gonna tell you again. How many cities do black folks focus, or how many cities in America is there a population of black people over 100,000? How many cities in America is there a population of black people over 1,000? Over 100,000. How many? What's the number? What's the number? It's a pop quiz from Uncle D. How many cities in America do black people number over 100,000? It's 19. How many cities in America do black people number over 25,000, between 25 and 100,000? 27. Now let's say you got 2 million crackheads. Matter of fact, let's say you got 2.5 million crackheads. How many crackheads is that per city? Divide that up. Now in those cities, how many different parts of those cities do black people live in? Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot, right? It's not a whole lot of black neighborhoods you can live in. So that means we all living in these neighborhoods with these crackheads. Think about that. In Los Angeles, where I'm from, we weren't living in Beverly Hills back in the 80s and 90s, not in any significant numbers. We living in Compton, Watts, Inglewood, South LA. So if you got 250,000 crackheads, 125,000 crackheads in LA, oh, that in that small area, you dealing with something. Now do the same thing to Ohio. How many different black neighborhoods in Ohio? How many different black neighborhoods in let's say Cincinnati? Let me pull the cities up so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And then you begin to understand it does not take that much to destroy the black community because it's just not a whole lot of them of any significance. So these are the cities with black populations over 100,000. South Fulton, that's in Georgia. Jackson, Mississippi. Detroit, Birmingham, Miami Gardens, Memphis, Montgomery, Baltimore, Augusta, Shreveport, New Orleans, Macon, Baton Rouge. See what I'm saying? But for the most part, we are largely, and this is talking about population, okay. But for the most part, we are mostly congregated in these 27 cities and in any significant numbers. Now, of course, there's cities with more black. I'm gonna correct it. We are mostly in these cities, but for the most part, it's all these cities have black neighborhoods. And so because of these black neighborhoods, if you drop all these crackheads in it, it's going to destroy the black neighborhood because you can't function if your preacher's a crackhead, if your mechanic's a crackhead, your wife, your sister's a crackhead. It's not going to work. You're going to have problems. See what I'm saying? And so it becomes disruptive. It becomes disruptive. And the community and the fabric of the community breaks down. And when the fabric of the community breaks down, it is what it is. And that's what happened. And these drug dealers played a part in that. And so how can we overlook that? How can we overlook what they've done? And so when I see people like Jeezy who have a track record of selling out because they did sell us out, why is there a surprise? But the question now is, what do we do about it? Because see, we have some of those same men in the black community or who are drug dealers or former drug dealers right here and right now on YouTube telling you what's wrong with black women. And that black women are the reason that the black community is destroyed. Now, yeah, the sisters played their part. But the major part was played by the actions of these drug dealers who were complicit and went along with what the government said. So let's come on in. I want all the thinking black men to come in, and I want to talk about this. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Is it really feminism, or was it the black drug dealers that destroyed the black community? But see, again, the agents of destruction, they look like us. It's only so much the government can do. The government been trying to get rid of us, but they couldn't. It wasn't until they enlisted the help of our own men that they were able to make inroads and begin to destroy the Black community. So the link is in the chat room. You guys come in. I want to hear what you have to say. I know this is going to be a difficult conversation, but I think it needs to be said. I think it needs to be had. I think it's important. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Hey, what's up, everybody? If you appreciate the format and you appreciate what we're doing here, then make sure you contribute to the Cash App. Make sure you contribute to the PayPal. Make sure you donate to the Super Chat. It's only you and your contributions that keep this thing going. Thanks.
People don't tell women the truth these days. Men get told the truth all the time. Women get told the truth all the time. Women have no problem telling a man. It happens. I don't want an average man. It happens every day on my show. TLC said they don't want no scrubs. We have no problem telling average men, you ain't crap. But if I just happen to have the nerve to agree with a woman that says she's average, then I'm Satan. I think that's interesting. People don't tell women the truth. Women should be FBI, feminine, beautiful, and inspirational. Now, maybe you work for somebody else, and you cannot control who you interact with at work. But in your personal life, yes, you can. You most definitely can decide to not have any women, anybody in your life that does not treat you with respect. You can make those decisions. And the thing is, when you carry yourself a certain way, when you treat yourself in a certain way, you will actually give yourself permission to demand the best from others. That's the key. You got to carry yourself that way. Give yourself permission to demand that people treat you with respect, address you with respect. Let nothing slide. If someone wants to insult you, call it out. Call it right on the mat. Your name is so and so. Your name is Daryl. Don't let them call you D. Say my name is Darren. My name is Daryl. Do not address me informally.
Hey, I'm about to show you something. Link in the chat room. Shout out to everybody who checked in. Please join the conversation. I think this is an important one. If this is hitting home, you guys let me know. All right. So the link is in the chat room. Let me hear you. Having a little difficulty up in here. Shout out to my man Be About Peace and Pleasure. Who else we got up in here? My man Black Wall Street. Shout out to him. Thank you so much for that $99.99. Big shout out to my man Black Wall Street, new member. My favorite Aussie. Shout out to Shane Blackwood. Thank you so much, fam from down under. Who else we got up in here? There's my nephew right there. Who else we got? Joe Martin. Welcome, fellas. How you guys doing today?
What's up, How you doing, big bro?
I'm good, brother.
I'm good, man. This is sometimes, man, you know, when you start pointing the finger, like here's what I want. Can y'all hear me? Let me know if you guys can hear me. Can y'all hear me? Because I got trying to play with this. Can y'all hear me well? Mike,
sure.
So, you know, here in the Manosphere, we always point the finger at these lovely ladies, and I'm all for it. You know what I mean? I'll point, but at some point, man, you know, they say when you point the finger at somebody else, man, you got two pointed back at you. And y'all young boys, y'all this has nothing to do with you guys. Y'all babies. You see what I mean? This is for the dudes that's in their 50s. You see what I mean? The dudes in their 40s, 45, 50 years old, who was out there selling dope back in the 80s, some of them 60. You understand what I mean? And
we always blame these feminists for destroying the black community. But my thing is, I get that. I understand that. But what about the D boys? Because when you really trace it back to it, that's what destroyed the black family. You understand what I mean? I mean, just think about it. What are y'all thoughts on this as young men? Because you guys in your 30s, y'all just getting in the game. Y'all babies as far as men. You're grown men. You deserve respect as men, but you don't really have all that luggage and baggage and slime on you. You understand what I'm saying? So what do you guys think about this?
Oh, okay. Well,
Go first, Black Wall Street, then we get Joe Martin up in here. Go ahead.
All right. Can you hear me, Unc?
Yes, sir. And thank you so much for your contribution. Go ahead, brother.
Okay, well, I grew up in the ghetto streets of East St. Louis, Illinois. My mother smoked crack cocaine. I used to fall asleep on the porch crying, waiting for her to come home. She even lost her house, and I bought it back. I bought it back for her. And what happened in my life is that I witnessed all the drug dealers was rock stars. They was the only ones that had the money besides the pimps, the preachers, the gamblers. And pretty much, unless you had like some type of big job, like my dad had a good job. My dad, he worked for the railroad, and he was a retired Marine. So, but we still lived in the hood because back then, on the way the neighborhood was, you had black families. We had Miss Rose up the street, we had Mr. Hill next door, we had Miss Faye next door, and these were all couples that had been married for over 30 years that raised us in the hood, even though it was it wasn't like bad like today, but it was more of a balance. But I think it's both, Uncle D. I think it's the feminism, and I think it's the drugs in the community.
Can I ask you some questions? Because, brother, you're brave enough to bring up this subject. And a lot of times we hear about the women, the people who got over crack. We hear about the women who aborted their children. We never hear from the children. We never hear from the way growing up and because I said earlier, you can't live with a crackhead. You can't live. I've lived in a neighborhood with crackheads. You can't live in a neighborhood with crackheads. They constantly breaking into stuff, hitting you up for change. Imagine your mom being addicted to that sort of substance. Now the thing is, Black Wall Street.
So deep.
Black people we did not fly and float that stuff into this country. Okay, so we can't they can't put responsibility off on us for that, but we did sell it to each other. Now, over the past 6 months or so, I hope that I've been giving you black men, especially, some wake-up calls. We learned that our African brothers, our ancestors, sold our other ancestors into slavery. We learned that. We've learned that our ancestors, when we were rioting and when we were trying to get out of slavery, it was our own ancestors that snitched on us and turned us in to the white, landowners and slave owners. And now we learn that it's our own brothers and sisters, but for the most part, brothers, selling crack to us. Just because the white man presents you with an opportunity to destroy your people, do you have to take that? You see what I mean? Now, hopefully, and I want Black Wall Street, I want you to talk about that a little bit more. I'm going to get Joe Martin in real quick and let him talk. But you young brothers who are 35 years old, you're suffering the consequences of what happened in my generation and before my generation. How does that make you feel, Joe?
Well, I'm real big on self-accountability. So I really love the conversation, right? You made a point earlier. You said, when we out here talking about girls twerking, them views be up. When it comes time to face our own things, you kind of see people, you hear rats piss on cotton. So I'm a product of that. My father was a crackhead, you understand? And it took me a long time And that's underrated. I'm still working at it. You know, just being angry all the time, or just looking for that right moment to just show people what I really am. You know what I mean? But
right.
I mean, it's not, you know, but at the end of the day, you can't really blame nobody for anything until we come to a point where we say, yo, listen, nobody forced or put a gun to our head to do anything. We did this ourselves. Even though we didn't bring it into the neighborhoods, we chose to do it. And that could have been due to lack of information, or lack of knowledge, or lack of self-worth. But nonetheless, we have to take responsibility for what we did. Thank you.
Well, brother, here's the thing. You don't have to take responsibility for that. That's not on you. Okay. Now, here's what I do want you to understand. At that time, in the 1980s, in the 1960s, 70s, 80s, the amount of stress that black people were dealing with, white supremacy, racism, unemployment, plants closing. It was the Reagan years. You had people getting shot. I mean, from Chicago to Detroit to LA, it was just horrible, you know? And so people were under a lot of stress, and they were trying to deal with it the best way they can. Not everybody is strong. I raised my sons to be strong because I saw so much drug use and violence in my home. And see, what people don't understand, smoking crack is not a peaceful habit. Okay, if it's some crack, then there's gonna be some alcohol. There's gonna be some violence in the household. There's gonna be a lot of neglect. You see what I mean? It's gonna be people coming to visit you to see if you're able to take care of your kids. It's gonna be relatives. It's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot going. It's not a peaceful habit that you have. It's not you just do it in the corner by yourself. It affects you and everything around you. It means your children are starving. They're eating bread sandwiches. They eat mayonnaise sandwiches. You see what I mean? They're wearing the same clothes day in and day out. You know, I've seen it. It means you're not going to the dental office. If you just dealing with, you the kids with the silver caps. And see, these young brothers right here, this is what I want you to understand why I look at them the way I do. When I would go back to the hood at 20 years old, these young boys that you're looking at right here, they was 5 and 10 years old looking at me. And I'm like, man, somebody got to do something for these young boys. Like, this is what I would see. One of the first things I did when I settled my first case, it was $4,000. It was 2001. The first thing I did was go back to South Central LA and go to my old neighborhood and pass out some $1 bills to the kids, tell them stay out of trouble, stay in school. Because I remember being that. And so they don't understand, Joe. They don't understand Black Wall Street, the effects of that it's had. You wonder why black men don't trust black women these days? Because a lot of these brothers had mothers that was crackheads. And then the crackhead turned to a strawberry. You see what I mean? How can you respect a woman if the woman that is supposed to be your first woman, the woman you look up to, is doing any and everything for this substance? And you a baby, you don't understand. Why you can't just quit, mama? You see what I mean? Why you can't just be like why you can't be like Mrs. Huxtable on TV, mama? You see what I mean? You don't understand that. And so a lot of brothers just pack that away somewhere because it's too painful to deal with. But now we're dealing with it. So y'all hold right quick. I'm gonna get Alvin in. Alvin, I know your experience was totally different, but from a philosophical point, and the brothers kind of say, well, it was crack, it was the drugs, and it was feminism. Like, to me, it seems like it was you got grenades coming from one direction and you got bullets flying from another. That's kind of what it seemed like to me. But we always talk about the feminists. We talk about what the white man did and the white woman, but why don't we talk about what we did? Because we seem to be our own worst enemy, in my opinion, Alvin. And I'm gonna say this. Let me clear that. I want to segue into something real quick, and this is off subject, but it's on subject, and I want y'all to hear me out. Anytime you start letting white women become your thought leaders, anytime you start letting white women become your thought leaders, it never turns out right for black folks. Now, what's going on in the manosphere right now? And you said this, Alvin, and I thought about it. I didn't want to talk to you about it. You said, oh, this young white girl, she's working hard. Nobody works harder than O'Shea Duke Jackson. He putting out 10 videos a day. But see, the thing is, brother, that white girl, we like that white girl telling these black girls what we can't tell her. We don't have Kevin Samuels anymore. So we like this white girl telling these black girls the same thing. We want to say, like, yeah, Miss Ann told you. Now you got to listen. That's our own black inferiority. The same thing happened with feminism. Black women said, oh, I'm going to embrace my white, I'm going to be like one of these white women. And we just gravitate to these white women. And then you see what feminism did. I'm sure back in the 1960s, oh yeah, making sure the sisters have equal rights. Yeah, right on. And you let these white women come into your space, black man, whether you call it the Black Manosphere or the Black Power movement, and you let them become the thought leaders of what's yours. And as a historian, even though an amateur historian I am, that never works out well for us. I tell you brothers all the time, and your other people tell you all the time, and anybody who's been involved in these black power circles will tell you, and I'm not a blackity black. Y'all know that. I'm not all with that. That's not what I do. I just want you as an individual to be the best man you can do. But what I can tell you is this: if you don't protect your own and protect what's yours, then you're going to lose it. See, you lost hip hop. Before that, you lost jazz. You lost the blues. And now you're about to lose the Black Manosphere. You understand? That's what's going to happen to you. That voice that you have now is going to be co-opted and corrupted. Yeah. Because you guys are, you don't learn. You need to close ranks. Imagine if they had something called the Italian Manosphere and my black behind tried to go in there and be the leader of the Italian Manosphere. Or some black woman here, let's say the sister, what's her name that was on here the other night? Shay Chardre, she tried to go be the leader of the Chinese Manosphere. What would they do to her?
She wouldn't.
Right, but you brothers, you embrace these women. You embrace these white women. And I'm just saying, brother, look, hey man, if you like it, it's all good. I mean, I'm just pointing out in history, it's history repeating itself. You know, it's the reason that I wanted to talk about the effect of white feminism and drug dealers. Because really what you're looking at is opportunistic black men who have no moral, what's the word I'm looking for? They have no moral boundaries and no loyalty. And you got white women coming in. That's what happened to us in the civil rights movement. This whole black community that we want to rise from the ashes of the old black community. We wanted to be that phoenix. Y'all killing the phoenix right now, brother. And your history tells you that this is what happens. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know this young lady Pearlie. She just doing what's available to her. I can't be mad at her for that. She seemed like a sweet girl. I'd talk to her, but I'm not gonna let her be my leader. No. You understand? I'm not gonna give her. I'm not gonna let her be my thought leader.
No.
You understand what I'm saying, brothers? You gotta stand up. You can't let any woman lead you anymore. It's easy to sit back and let the women do the work, but you gotta elbow them out the way, brother. Like I told you guys 2 years ago, you gotta elbow them out the way. This is your turn to lead. It's your turn to shine. You understand what I'm saying? And I say this from the bottom of my heart. I just settled a case yesterday for $24 million. I'm not going to be here much longer. And that don't mean I'm not going to be around. It's just like, why would I be hanging around with y'all? Yeah, I love y'all. But I've been telling you, I've been looking for a replacement for years. You see what I'm saying? I'm not going to be here. But what I would hate to do is for you guys to allow this beautiful thing, which started organically, to be co-opted and corrupted like so much of other stuff that came from our own intellectual power and prowess. So think about the things. Alvin, I expect more from you, brother. I get it. The white girl's working hard. God bless her. But that still don't mean she can be our leader.
I didn't say she was her leader. I said she was. I said, oh, okay.
She's working hard. We give her props.
Yeah, I gave her. I mean, I just said, look, and like I said, at the end of the day, you know, YouTube, second largest search engine outside of Google. It's a numbers game, and we have to play the game better. You know, if we're going to be in the game, we got to play the game better. And
well, let me try this, brother. Start with unity.
Absolutely.
You see what I mean? I want you to cater to your own first. We don't even, we got black, we talking about patronizing black businesses. Let's patronize our own people that talk. Ain't nobody talking to y'all like I'm talking to y'all. I put myself all out there like that. You know, but it's really not about me. You know what I mean?
Uncle D,
Go ahead. Yes, sir. Yes,
I think we are in a trick bag, sir. We are in a situation that is more dire than I think we realize. I think that we are further away from having that. Like I said, we need to set our feet. We've never been able to really set our feet as a culture, as a group of people. There's always been somebody with their hands in the mix, and you know. Again, I'm not going to try to take any.
Let me cut you off because I know the problem, and the answer is unity.
Yes,
you cannot be willing. Willie D was on here. There should be some things you're not willing to do for money. You recognize that white supremacy is a problem, but also black inferiority is a problem, and there's also an element of laziness in there, and there's also an element of you don't feel you deserve certain things. You deserve your voice. See, a lot of these brothers are like Black Wall Street and Joe Martin. Brother, I grew up with low self-esteem because of my upbringing. You know what I mean? And it took a lot for me to get to this point. The reason I always give the Most High praise is because that's the only way I'm comfortable accepting praise. Because I grew up with such low self-esteem from the situation that I grew up in, not knowing who my real father was, calling a man embarrassed. You know, growing up in the ghetto, you know what I mean? You got roaches and you move the refrigerator, all the roaches come out. You know what I'm saying? Sleeping on the floor till I'm like 10 years old. And I know my situation wasn't as bad as other people. I'm just saying that creates low self-esteem in you. And it takes a lot for a black man to stand up. You see what I mean? Like I applaud Joe and Black Wall Street. Because I can only imagine what you have to deal with, man. Just even being able to bring that up at y'all's age, it's painful, it's embarrassing. That's not something you want to talk about. You see what I mean? But it takes courage to bring that up. You know, you well-dressed, y'all are you well-spoken, you've done well for yourself, but then you got to look at that, it's embarrassing. And that's why I tell you, that's not your fault. That's the first thing I told y'all when y'all bring it up. None of that is your responsibility. You see what I mean? At a certain point, we all grow up and we just God's, we're brothers and sisters. That mother and father, that's just the vessel in which you pass through. You're God's child. And that's what I had to recognize, because all the shortcomings from the people that supposed to love me the most, right? I couldn't, they're just human beings. You're God's son. You're God's child. And so because of that, you don't have to accept the blemishes and the shortcomings of those people that you pass through. They are not you. You are God's child. And so my whole point in saying that, man, is that it's painful and it takes a lot of it's a lot of esteem issues. So when it's time for you to stand up, sometimes you don't feel like you should, but we got to elbow these people out the way, and you're entitled to do that. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. You have a right to do that. Despite how you feel about yourself, you're entitled to speak for yourself. And when you see others from outside communities coming in, speaking on your behalf, it may sound good, but that's not their right to do that. They don't have a right to speak for you. Even if they're sounding good and saying all the right words, you still tell them to sit down. No, thank you, but no thank you. This is our forum. This is our thing. You see, it's already bad enough that they've taken our talking points from Kevin Samuels, who basically gathered it from the entirety of the Black Manosphere over the past 10 years. Kevin to tell you, he just took what you wrote. He took what was already out there and repackaged it and made millions of dollars off of it. But he got it from right here. These are from Black minds. And now you got this white young lady. I mean, and like I said, I don't disrespect no woman from, you see what I mean? White, Hispanic, whatever, Asian. But the bottom line is that's your job to speak up on behalf of yourself. You should be speaking so loud, we should be drowning out her voice. All of their voices, even the sisters. I'm even hesitant of the sisters, so you know I'm gonna be hesitant and even the white boys. You gonna let that white woman speak for you now? It's why I got white dudes in my chat room like now. Y'all letting the white chick speak for you? You know what I mean? Like, think about that. That's embarrassing to us, generally speaking. But Anyway, Alvin, go ahead and you know, the floor is open. Anybody else who want to come in, man, come in. This is a hard, you know, and if I'm overstepping my bounds, fine. Y'all don't have to like what I'm saying. I'm not trying to be racist or clannish.
Well, I think it's time we need
trying to do that.
I think it's time we need to be. I think it's okay for everyone else to click up except for us. And I think that the culture has shamed us whenever we try to click up, but everyone else is allowed to. And that's part of the problem. And the messed up part about it is our own people that's keeping us from doing it. You know, we need to circle the wagon.
Yo, and you know,
go ahead, Joe. Go ahead, Joe. Please.
You know what's crazy, Alvin? That shit with Kanye West, like, yo, that type of power is something to be envied. I don't care what nobody say. Yo, the way they shutting this brother down, I'm trying to feel like as long as we've been around, us, you know, in our history, we ain't gotta go too deep in that, the blackity black. We ain't gotta do that. But yo, man, for the way they can do that to us all day and get away with it. And the way they shut him down, that just shows you the power and unity. They are not playing no games with this fool, man. They not playing no games. They escorting this brother out of stores. And see that right there? Man, listen, I ain't got no problem with the Jews. I love it. I think we should learn a whole lot from that.
Yeah.
Because right now we arguing with each other, killing each other. And trust me, I'm with that Pookie and Ray Ray. Yeah, I'm one of those Pookie and Ray Rays. I'm a more sophisticated one. I'm getting out of it, but I'm one of them, so I know what it is.
Right.
Yo,
the truth is, bro, I was one of them too. If I'm shooting craps at 10 years old, riding around with a pistol by 15. I was one too. I can hear you in the background. You might want to turn your YouTube down, Joe.
Okay.
So, but my thing is, you gotta recognize what that is and get away from that, because you're just a detriment to your own people at that point. And when you're a detriment to your own people, you're a detriment to yourself. You just digging a hole right wherever all your people can step in it. You see what I'm saying? So, but what we can't do is continue to put Pookie and Ray Ray up on a pedestal. See, that's the problem. Everybody has Pookie and Ray Rays in their tribe, in their group. We can't put them up on the pedestal. We got to put the hardworking family men who are going out there working every day. Those are the people, the honest. Those are the people we want to put up on the pedestal, whether you're a plumber, electrician, truck driver, engineer, whatever you are. The good, hardworking, those are the men that we need to uplift every day. Yeah. Those are the ones that need to be awarded Father of the Year and all this sort of stuff. Not the talkers, not the preachers preaching and talking, and the politicians, not even the athletes. You see what I mean? It's the plumbers and the electricians and the daddies and the guys who sacrifice, who dropping their kids off in them long ass elementary school lines. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You got kids, you know just what I'm talking. There to pick your daughter up and your son up to go to the recitals, changing diapers. Those are the men that we need to uplift, because that's what we need more of. We need to feed that with the clout. You understand what I'm saying? I probably used that word wrong. They need to be the ones to get the clout, not the Pookies and the Ray Rays. You see what I mean? Black Wall Street, you've been quiet up there for a minute, man. Jump on in here.
Yeah, just to stick to the subject, I blame the conditions of the neighborhoods that we grew up in, and I also blame the feminist activities of the modern woman. I'll give you a prime example. I had two women left in my rotation before I made the conscious decision to be permanently done with any woman in America and to take my talents overseas to the continent of Africa and deal with women from Nigeria and Ghana. Now, the first girl was here last night. I quit her several times. I even blocked her. She happened to call me from a different number. I answered. To make a short story shorter, I had to tell this woman to never pop up over my house again and never call me, or else I'm gonna call the police on her. I had to tell her that last night and put her out of my house. The second girl called me today when I got off of work, crying that she got into a bind to where she wrecked her grandmother's car. And if she didn't get her grandmother's car fixed, her grandmother was gonna put her out into the streets.
Hitting you up for money, basically.
I let her in my house. She stole $800 from me. And this happened right now. That's probably why I look the way that I look, because I'm disappointed in what happened today.
But that's just, you know,
I was listening to your video, Uncle D, when you talked about value systems,
Mm-hmm.
and it just amazed me that you would compromise the integrity of a relationship over that
$800.
when you can, you know what I'm saying? Come on, man.
Imagine if you had had a child by that woman.
It's both, Uncle D.
Yeah, go ahead, Joe, and then we're gonna go back to Alvin. Go ahead, Joe, and then we'll go back to Alvin.
Hey, real quick, Black Wall Street, brother. You said she stole $800 from me today.
$800 from me. This happened at 3:42 p.m.
Let me ask you a question real quick. There's no right or wrong answer to this question, but do you think that was her fault or your fault? Like, who do you blame for that?
I think it was my fault, but what can you do?
Joe, you got an echo in there. You got an echo in there, Joe. Who's got the echo?
Does it sound better now or no? Still echo?
Test. Yeah, I can still hear when I speak. Man, Black Wall Street, go make a police report. Go make a police report, and then email me when you finish. What state you in?
Right now, I'm in Missouri.
Yeah, just make a police report. Send me an email. All right.
One thing. Go ahead. Sorry, my fault.
Go ahead, Alvin. Make a police report. Name her, what she did. Send me an email. We'll talk later. All right.
As you, one thing that I'd like I'd like to add, and I always try to add when I come on here, and I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity, is for us to, as men, especially Black men, is to reduce risk and reduce our situations like that. You know, letting people into your home, right? Even though you have rapport with this woman and she's been with you before, understanding that if you're not on good terms, that, you know, at this point in time, when people get desperate, you become a lick. You know what I mean?
But the thing is, Alvin, man, you don't know where it's coming from. It's some relatives I can't let in my house, and I was raised with them.
Same.
You know what I mean? When you get a certain amount of money, you just get paranoid. You have to. It's why rich people have gates up around their houses. You know, y'all hear that quote, Mike Tyson, what he said? He said, being in prison for 3 years is the best time in his life because he ain't had no money. And nobody could ask him for anything anymore. And you don't know why they're coming at you. You know, you don't know why. Like, I'm telling you, man, like, I remember, I don't even want to go into my own part. Read my books and you'll hear what I'm talking about. But you get surrounded by people and you don't know why they're there. They lie, they smile at you. And of course, it wasn't to the degree of, you know, like a Mike Tyson where you got millions of dollars and stuff. But all you can do later on is laugh about it. But bro, this is why you got to separate yourself. I know you brothers, you talk about brothers got to separate themselves. It's like a great separation. You can't be around everybody, man. Like, that's what I meant. Values, man. This woman put $800 over that. Imagine if it's men who've had children with women like that. You see what I'm saying, bro? Like, so you really can't, Joe, you really can't blame Black Wall Street. He a target for some of these low value broads out here. Cody Marshall, you gotta Cody Marshall, you're gonna have to cam up. You gotta cam up, please. But go ahead. Anybody.
The majority of them live vicariously through popular.
Right now I'm at work, man.
And it's officially over for the Black American woman in the wilderness of North America, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us do for self or die. And the best thing that we can do for ourselves is leave them the fuck alone as Black men.
Yeah.
Because insanity is repeating the same method and expecting a different result. And if we keep messing with them, it's the same soup, just reheated. Different face, same flavor, same thing, no matter where you meet them. Because the ones you meet at Walmart be on the damn dating apps.
Yeah. Let's kind of get back to the point though that we was at, man. We talking about self-accountability. I got a bunch of young brothers on here, all y'all in y'all 30s. This ain't had nothing to do with y'all. You see what I mean? This is a self-accountability of my generation and the people that came before me. We was the one pumping the dope into the neighborhood. But see, here's the thing. Y'all about to have y'all moment too. You understand what I'm saying? Every generation get their own sort of opportunity to sell out en masse. You see what I mean? And what I want y'all to understand is look at the patterns. Look at the patterns. You got I mean, you got white, like I said, man, I got to do Shane, white dude from Australia. Like, we don't even trust white women like that. You see, man, you got a white woman leading y'all. They lull you into this, even having women leading the men's movement. That's just lazy. That you do not, it's like letting a girl beat you at something. You just don't let it happen. You understand what I'm saying? You do not let women lead men's movements. You understand? That's the pride that I want you to have. You don't let women come in and take over your movement. You understand what I'm saying, brothers? Yeah. And I know, that's sexist. I know somebody saying that to me right now. But it's my job to tell you, black men, you don't let no woman run your house. You don't let her change your radio in your car without your permission.
Eat off
you
your
understand
plate.
what I'm saying? And you definitely don't let her run your movements.
You predicted this when Kevin died. You said
I
this
know.
was gonna happen.
I know,
You
but
said they was gonna be white.
I told you, because I know how black people are. Y'all love white people. And white people know y'all love white people. And look, if you see a fool, bump his head. You see what I mean? But that just means to me that there's a large insecurity that exists in black people. And it starts with black men because of how we're raised and how we're treated by this society and how the society projects this negative image of us that we take in as our own. You understand what is that? It kind of makes, I hope that makes sense.
100%.
We believe what they're saying to us about us. Go ahead, Joe, and then we're gonna go to Cody and back to Alvin.
Yeah, real fast. Only reason why I agree with everything you're saying. I asked Black Wall Street that question because one of my biggest obstacles that impeded on my growth growing up was that I always thought it was, when something happened to me, I always thought it was somebody else's fault. And you're right. You can't control everything that happens to you. But, you know, when it starts happening once, twice, 3, 4 times, you know, at the end of the day, nobody can really affect you the way unless you allow them to. And, you know, self-accountability is what we are talking about. That's why I asked the brother. It wasn't to throw no shade.
No.
But at the end of the day,
yes, sir.
At the end of the day, that $800 that got stolen, he said the right thing. It was his fault. And that's what we got to understand. A lot of stuff that's happening to us is our fault. Even though I understand that our fathers, you know, they did what they did. You know, we get to a certain age where we have to say and it's very tricky. We get to a certain age, we got to say to ourselves, well, damn, ain't nobody coming to save nobody.
Yeah.
We in this shit by ourselves. Thank you.
No, I'm glad you said that, but here's my thing. And I'm gonna mute you because we're getting the feedback from you again. It's my job to tell you it's not your fault. It's not your fault, nephew. You see what I mean? Otherwise, there's no compassion. It's your mother. No, I'm not gonna tell you that because you get blamed for everything else. That's what Uncle D is supposed to do. You see what I mean? That's why y'all come back here. Now, if you decide and read my books, I accept responsibility for all the stuff my ex-wife did to me in my divorce. You see what I mean? Even though she did it. Why did I do that? Because blaming her for something she did wasn't going to help me move past it. So I just accept responsibility. You married her. It's your damn fault. Okay, you married her. Even though she, you know, gave you hell, you did it. You dug yourself, because otherwise you're beating yourself up. But if you accept responsibility for how you got there, then you're more willing to take the steps you need to get out of there, as opposed to waiting around for somebody else who you think put you in that situation to get you out, if that makes sense. My man Shocks12 says, Uncle D, I had to sit back and reflect on what you're saying. I did some social movement research, and there are co-options and methods such as extremism to deliberately slow the momentum of a movement. Yeah, like, I mean, where my paranoid brothers at? You got a white girl in here leading the black manosphere. Where the conspiracy brothers are? Why you ain't saying, what's it called, co-intel? Why she, you know what I mean? I don't get, somebody should have said about she must be from the CIA, and I'm not knocking her. You see what I mean? All she's doing is capitalizing on what she's heard already, and she's making money, and I don't have a problem with that. My problem is with you brothers being so easy to allow somebody to infiltrate and become your thought leader and your spokesperson. That's what happened. She's gonna end up on what is that called? Good Morning America. That's
I wouldn't doubt that one bit.
No, she is. She's gonna end up on Good Morning America. She's gonna end up in 5 or 10 years. She's gonna end up being in politics, and y'all gonna love her. Y'all love white girls. Come on, tell the truth. A white girl is saying the same thing that y'all want to say to these black girls, but Miss Ann say it. Y'all know who y'all are. I tell you dudes all the time, y'all know who y'all are. You're nice, you're sweet. You think some Mexican dudes gonna let a white girl speak on behalf of them? No, Holmes. They're not gonna do it. You think some Asian dudes gonna let a white girl speak on behalf of them? White dudes don't even let white women speak on behalf of them. But you black dudes are willing to kick back and let this white girl and the little. I mean, it's we've seen it happen before. And I don't know what to say to you because I'm not letting nobody speak on behalf of me but me. I go out of my way. I have thousands of hours logged while I get you brothers to speak up on behalf of yourself. Yeah. And instead of starting your own channel, you see what I mean, and flooding everybody else out, you're willing to sit back and let these other people speak for you. So, I've done my job. The ball is in your hands now. And if you drop the rock, that's on you. I'm telling you, my generation dropped the rock. Not all of us, but enough of us. You see what I mean? I hope you guys don't do the same thing. You got a good thing here in this black manosphere. You got people talk. The reason they talking about it so bad is because it's so effective. Now, the last thing you want to do is let a bunch of women, especially white women and Hispanic, because if it's going to be one, it's going to be some more. It's going to be another white girl coming up soon. And she's going to be talking flyer than the one that we got now. It's going to be some more women. Matter of fact, they're going to start talking about the black women next. Watch them start roasting black women. And then they're going to start roasting y'all. And then it's going to be something totally different than what it is. And then the movement is going to dissipate. You're going to be so disgusted with what we call YouTube and the manosphere. Y'all going to stop listening. That's what's happening. Just like y'all stop listening to rap music. You got to do something, fellas. You got to stand up and begin to speak. I'm not saying disrespect nobody. They're entitled to their voice, but you got to speak louder. Nobody knows you better than. There should be no other group of men on this planet that can speak on behalf of black men better than the black men right here in America. You can't tell me this white girl know your thoughts better than this black man and that black man and that black man and that black. I don't believe that. Look, man. We started off rapping on cafeteria tables with the. You see what I'm saying? You don't need all that technology if you're good. Malcolm X had a soapbox and a microphone. You understand what I mean? Marcus Garvey didn't have the internet. He had U.S. Mail and what was that the Pony Express. Pony Express. Nobody can speak on behalf of you better than you. You can't. Technology don't matter. You need to dig. You need to dig down into your soul. You need to connect with the ancestors so that you can connect with your people and begin to speak on their behalf. You can't let other people come in and infiltrate your stuff, fellas. You got to lock arms. This is your last shot. 50 years from now, it's over. By the time you young men get 60, 70 years old, what you know is the black community is not going to be here anymore. It's going to be gone. So you are the last chance. And if you don't stand up, you fall for the same tricks. If you fall for the same tricks that your ancestors fell for, that's it. You understand? I'm just saying. I love you. I ain't gonna be here. I'm not gonna be here. I'm just saying. Go ahead, Alvin. Then we're gonna let Cody talk.
Well, the situation is dire. The situation is dire, and there's a large population of brothers that don't see anything wrong with the way things are right now, unfortunately. And they don't understand that they're in the cage, they're in the trap. They don't understand. And it's not until not everybody even realizes it, right? Not everybody understands the kind of situation that they're in or the situation that we're in as a people. right? We are a large, we are a minority, us on this panel, and the people that are listening to your page, and you know, and the damage is vast. And the one thing that I think St. Kevin had, that I think that one of the things that he was trying to convey is that we have a math problem. Like, this is a math problem. This is a numbers problem. He was trying to let the ladies know that you guys are way out of line, and there's way more of you out there than there are, you know, men, and you guys got to get your attitude together. And the same with the men, same with us.
The thing is, brother, I think Kevin realized towards the end of his life there's no helping him. That's why he died in the arms of a beautiful Latina woman.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, I mean,
this ship is sinking.
I love you, Kevin.
Yeah. So, but my thing is, my salvation, I'm concerned about black men. You see what I mean? See, this is my concern about you brothers. And you're making the same mistakes that our ancestors made. You're too laid back. You're letting too much slide. You don't even see it happening. You know, that's my problem. And that means it feels like I failed, because I've been, especially being in this space, I'm telling y'all over and over again, hey, brothers, use your voice, speak up for yourself. Don't let
being fought by our own people, huh?
Yeah.
That's the hardest part about the war, being fought by our own people. The people that we bringing the message to fighting us today. I got banned on Facebook for quoting the statistics that 80% of black women got children by men, by 15 to 20% of men in the black community, because they fucking the same man. About how they got the highest statistics of child abuse, how they the highest evicted right now and the most arrested. And men and women was getting on me talking about I was bashing. Now I'm banned for 24 hours on Facebook for telling the truth.
Well, just keep saying it, because those things that what I used to say on my page was revolutionary 10 years ago, but now I hear everybody saying it. So keep saying it, okay? But you can't quit. Just keep talking, keep speaking the truth. Cody's been patiently waiting. I want to get Cody Marshall in. Cody, what would you like to add to this conversation, sir?
You know, I just want to make it quick because I'm at work right now. I'm in from that era, like you said, Mr. D, from the era where I literally saw two crackheads drop their crack in the mud because they ate the mud, trying to get the crack out of the mud.
Shout out to MS Delta.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and the brothers and here's the thing, the brothers who sold them that dope, they saw that
and they was laughing at them,
and they kept doing it, right?
Yeah.
And so my thing is, man, we got we got a history of disunity all the way back to the continent, and the whole world knows it.
Yeah.
The Arabs know it, the Asians know it. Of course, the Americans know it. We know it. We got all you got to do is give this Negro a blue flag and that Negro a red flag. Give this Negro 4 quarters and give this Negro $1, and they'll fight about it. So what we have here is a lack of unity. And if we can't defend ourselves on this small level in this small little space, we got a white girl coming over, and not just white girls, you know, we got, and look, let me say, I don't want to pick on that young lady. I don't have no problem with her speaking her voice. She's obviously very smart. She has charisma. She works hard. I'm not knocking her. I don't blame her. I blame y'all, because y'all patronizing her. That's who I blame. And you want to do it. You want her to speak on your behalf. And that's the problem. You should have more pride in yourselves, black men, than to sit up and let that little white girl speak on behalf of you. She should not be the voice of the black manosphere saying, taking our dead brothers' talking points and putting them out there more than us. That's a damn shame. I'm ashamed of you black men right now. You understand what I'm saying?
We need to start really.
I want y'all to hear me. Hold on, Cody. I want y'all to hear me. I have never been more ashamed of you black men in this so-called black manosphere than I am right now. Because y'all see this girl, this young lady has sat up and took Kevin Samuels' talking point. The man it just got buried in May, and she popped up, and all the rest of them popped up not 2 or 3 weeks later. His body wasn't even cold in the grave yet. Still in y'all, and y'all embraced it. It make me just want to go move somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like they ain't listening. Go ahead, Joe. And we almost at 2 hours. So
OG, triple OG, double OG, Uncle D. You know I love you, bro. But I remember one show, man. You told us to support these chicks, man.
I told you to go over there, listen to what they had to say, support them. But at no point did I say let them be your leaders.
She ain't leading.
Matter of fact, I told you that they would be your leaders soon. They will be coming. I told you, they're gonna be coming. You can't stop them from speaking, just like you can't stop white feminists from speaking to black women back in the 1960s. But what you could say is, Marianne, don't have any white woman come back over here no more. You better come back over here. You need to assert yourself like men. It's a difference between, and I'm glad you brought that up. You listen to your adversaries. You don't let them become your leaders. Look at the history of black people and white people in this country. The reason that white people, Cody, I'm gonna mute you, brother, because you got something going on in the ground. The reason that white people don't trust black people and they don't want us in power, because they think we're gonna do the same thing to them that they did to us. Now, some of y'all might.
We should.
But the
Yeah.
vast majority of black people, I'm talking about 99.99% of us, we just want to be gone on and left in peace. You see what I mean? But my whole point is, man, you don't let your adversary come in and become your leader. You know, God bless her. She's still a woman, but she got a white daddy and the white brothers, and she gonna be on the white man's side. She has to be, otherwise she's an idiot. You see what I mean? You don't come in and let her take over the leadership role.
Who's taking? I mean, I don't understand. I don't.
Well, she's a leader because she's the most vocal. Look how many followers she got. Who you think following her?
I mean, but who? But that's the thing. It's like she's got white folks following. She's got. I mean, there's.
She's gonna Eminem all y'all. She's gonna Eminem all y'all.
But that's here's the thing. Like I said, we're fighting multiple. We're fighting. Yeah, we need to work harder. Absolutely, yes. And we're not putting out enough content. And
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. When you think of kung fu, do you think of a white man or Asian man?
Asian man, of course.
Right.
Asian, ethnic
even though white people and black people practice kung fu, right?
Of course.
Okay. When you think of the manosphere, the black manosphere, you want to keep thinking of a black man, but pretty soon you're gonna be thinking of that white girl and them other gals coming up in here.
No, I'm not. But a lot of people are.
But the people who are new to it, oh yeah, this is blah blah blah. It's not going to even be called a manosphere no more. That's what you got to understand. Yeah. I went over to goddamn 3rd Ward, Houston, Texas today. You know they call it River Terrace now. You see what I'm saying? They're gonna re-gentrify the manosphere. That's what you see happening right before your eyes. And you ain't gonna you're not gonna be able to afford to live here. Well, all my Brooklyn people at. Brooklyn people will tell you. This is what's happening to you guys, man. But I'm tired. All right. I'm tired. And I brought this up. It's on you. It's on you fellas now. You understand? Stop big up in that girl. You understand?
I
know.
Can I say one more thing, Uncle D, before you go?
Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
I know I talk too much. I know.
No, you
hey,
Black Wall, tired, man. Go ahead, bro.
Black Wall Street. Uncle D made a statement. He said white folks are worried that black people gonna do the same thing to them. And you said we should.
I said
that was Alvin said that.
I didn't say that.
Oh, damn. Okay, so Alvin, brother,
I know. I ain't see that coming, Alvin. You gotta watch Alvin.
I said that.
So Alvin,
yeah.
Damn. I'd rather have done this to Black Wall Street because I don't know him like that. It is what it is. So Alvin,
we still had John Brown in the Secret Six, which was a wealthy white.
Hey man, it's time.
I don't want to get off in all that. I don't want to get off in all that. Y'all.
What I'm saying is that here's what I'll say. I'll clarify. Here's what I'll say. I'll clarify and I'll be quick. We need to understand the situation that we are in. We need to understand what these people have done to us. We need to understand that there's always been a plan. They've been hitting us from every angle, from healthcare to what we eat, to what we do, where we work. They've been hitting us from every single angle, and we've been taking it on the chin this entire time. It's time we circle the wagons, not let them into be able to kick our doors in like they've been doing. We need to create jobs for ourselves. We need to find some sort of an angle or a corner of business where we can start on our own, where we don't depend on them for anything, whatever that is.
Well, see,
and whatever that is.
You live in a country dominated by white people.
Understood.
People. You're going to always need them.
I didn't say we don't need them.
What you need to do is you need to create a symbiotic relationship where it's not always them taking from us and us not getting anything in return. You need to harness your political power. You need to harness your financial power. It ain't no get back. You can't get people back for 500 years of oppression. That's a wrap. It's over. You got to take it on the chin. It's just like you lost the game. You lost the goddamn game. Be a man about it. Pick your pieces up. Go back to the drawing board. Rebuild. It's not. We can't cross that river. We ain't no get back for slavery. There's no way. I don't care if you got $1 trillion. You still can't get it back because your last name is still gonna be Holden and Martin, and mine is Sperling, and them wasn't the names that we had when we got put on them boats. Our ancestors got put on them boats and was sent over here. We're not gonna get that back. But what we could do is pick up the pieces and move forward. We have great opportunities in this country. Our ancestors fought in every war for them. We're definitely a minority who's being talked about. You see what I mean? We got athletes with money, we got artists with money, we got businessmen with money, we got plumbers, electricians, truck drivers. We got everything. We got 100-some black colleges. You see what I mean? With admissions that they'll let your butt in there if you just get through high school. You see what I mean? And you can become an engineer or whatever you want to be. You see what I mean? So we have all the opportunities that we need. The one ingredient that we don't have is unity. And this little test right here, brothers, this little test, if y'all let this white gal come up in here and become the what they call the woman king of the black manosphere. I'm
a little mad at O'Shea.
She like the little Tarzan. You know how Tarzan, they had all the little black Africans running around. They sent a little white girl up in there. Oh my God. And then they all just praise her and stuff. That's what y'all doing right now. That's how y'all look. Y'all look like them little black people in Tarzan with the bone in the nose, and then Jane come through and y'all just bow down to Jane. That's what I see. And it's very disappointing to me. And it's very disappointing. You want to know why these black women find it hard to respect y'all? Because you don't do what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do. I shouldn't have to get on here and tell y'all to elbow all these women out the way and say, hey, you know, we speak for ourselves. I don't want no woman speaking for me. You can call me a sexist if you want to. I don't want I told my friends, I got a Muslim brother who's my good friend. I said at my funeral, I don't want no women speaking for me. I don't want no women speaking on my behalf. I want my sons to speak on my behalf. I want my brothers to speak on my behalf. I want my comrades to speak on my behalf. I don't want no woman, not even my mama, speaking on my behalf or telling my thoughts of how I felt, because I'm a man. I am a man, and I don't want women speaking for me. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. That's you are men, and you need to start acting like men and standing up for yourselves like men. That's just basic pride. And it's hard for black men to have that pride because you've been told that you shouldn't. You've been told that you're not a man. You've been told that you're a boy. And before that, you was a boy first, and then you was an N-word, and then you was a boy again. But you're men. And not only are you men, but you're free men. You're free to speak your mind, and you don't let other people speak on your behalf. I've been telling y'all that for years now. When you see these women on the internet, MSNBC, CNN, all that speaking on behalf of black men, you say, nah, you get your little Twitter fingers together, and you say, nah, you get your Facebook posts together, you send letters, if you emails, you don't speak for me. I speak for me. Other black men speak for me. I don't want women speaking for me. I definitely don't want no white girl from the Midwest speaking for me. You understand that makes me look like a fool. You understand what I mean? So just think about that, fellas. And again, no disrespect to this young lady. She's a capitalist. She's making money. She saw an opportunity. It's going to be plenty of other people like that. Go on over there and see what they got to say. Give them $4, $5. You know what I mean? But you don't let them be the loudest voice in the room speaking on your behalf. You understand what I'm saying? Be player about it. That can y'all understand what I mean when I say be player about it? You understand what that means? That's some 1980s and 90s talk. Yeah, baby. Here you go. Here go a couple dollars for you, baby. You know, I see what you're doing. But anyway, you see what I mean? Let me get back over here to this man business. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. You don't have to be, don't go over there blowing up a channel. You can't. No. Don't be calling her a white supremacist, racist. No. You just begin to speak louder than her. And you tell the other brothers, hey, bro, why are you over there listening to that white girl talk on your behalf? I'm going to tell you why. Because she's saying things that you're afraid to say for yourself. That's why y'all paid Kevin Samuel so much. Y'all was so afraid of that big, bad black woman. And then when you had Kevin on there eating them up and lighting them up every night, yeah, Kevin, because you too afraid to say it yourself. It's fear, it's cowardice, and it's not becoming of black men. You're the face of God on this planet, black man. God's first creation was what? Man. And who's the first man on this planet? Who does science say was the first man on this planet? The black man.
Black man. So
if the Bible says God created man first, and science says that the black man was the first man, who is the face of God? Because he created you in his own image, right? So act like it. Have some pride about yourselves. Love yourselves. Respect yourselves. Don't let other people speak for y'all, man. Either way, I'm tired. Shit. God bless
Hey,
y'all.
I don't mean to cut you off. I was just gonna say I think the impact is the way it is because it's a female saying it. Because if it was a white guy saying it like that, it wouldn't hit half as hard. Because you got guys like Rollo Tomasi and Richard Cooper out there that she can't even see on a bad day. You see what I'm saying?
Brother,
So I think it's just because she a female that's siding with men that's got the impact.
I know, and she's saying, and not only is she a female, but she's a white woman. Because it's black women in the black women in the manosphere saying the same thing. But
Yeah,
see,
like
it's
Tanika.
because of that white woman. You got a white woman speaking on your behalf. You might as well have God. What did my man Minister Jap say? The white woman is God. Ain't that what he say? And he says it.
It's a joke.
But it's true.
Yeah,
Y'all
true.
worship that white woman because of your own shackles, your own black inferiority, because of the effects of white supremacy, racism. You worship that white woman, her beauty, you do.
I was in the nation for 10 years, and I'm a Mason.
No, but
so
okay, I know.
I see a little bit differently, big bro.
I get it, brother, and that's a good salve to put on that sore right there. But it was still an injury. You were still injured. Okay, you were still injured because of the system. You're constantly being bombarded. Look, let me tell you something. Now you done got me started again, and I was trying to get out of here.
Get it to me, huh? Get it to me.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was the greatest psychologist that the Black America has ever had, because he took you from a people that worship white people to a people that began to look at white people like, I don't know. Elijah Muhammad taught you to look at white people like white people look at other white people. You understand what I'm saying? He said, because the French never trusted the English. And he just pointed out why to black people. So you stop worshiping them and you start saying, these are not people I should put up on a pedestal. Maybe we should look within and have some black power and some black pride. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad did that. He gets very little credit for what he's done. But he did basically, he said, hey, we're going to hit them in their strength. I talk about this in my book. If you haven't bought my book, man, I got 39 copies left. And after that, I'm done. You can't get it on Amazon. I'm going to put the link up. If you want a copy, these people done have me order more copies. They will only sell me 50 at a time. You see what I mean? I got 39 more copies. You should get one. But the bottom line is I talk about that in my books. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad basically hit white people in their strength as far as their hold on black people, okay? And this is not a black moment, and I know I got white followers, but damn it, I still got to do what I got to do, And y'all can listen and not like it. That's fine. I don't care.
Fuck them. This for us.
Yeah, I know, but you know, I get it. But I'm speaking historical facts. Okay, so black people loved white people, adored them. They had the hair straightening, they had the skin lightening. We were just like them Africans are right now. You see what I mean? With this, we was 50 years, we was 100 years ago, just like where they are right now, dealing with colorism and racism. Honorable Elijah Muhammad said the reason that we love white people so much is because we see them as God. So what did they start doing? What did his ministers begin to do? Call him the devil.
Call the white man the devil.
You see what I'm saying? That's what he did. Now, if you listen to the rhetoric now, they stopped calling white folks the devil around about 20 years ago. Why? Because it's unnecessary now. But for those years in which they were doing it, they were calling them the devil to make black people say, no, these are not angelic people. These are devils. Even though they didn't mean it, because I mean, there's some devilish black people just like it's some devilish everybody else. But he called them devils so black people would take them down off that pedestal. Everybody's grandma had a white Jesus in their house. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told you that's the devil, right? That's the face of the devil. The white man is, and then he started pointing out historical facts and how they had killed each other and done each other in Europe. So he played a psychological war game on black people's minds. And he was able to get enough of y'all off of that he created, you know, once you get a certain percentage of people on board with you, the things begin to kind of, oh, okay, this is the momentum this is the direction that we're going. That's what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did. But you're still suffering from the effects of black inferiority. See, it's not so much white people can think they're supreme all they want to. That's great. Every race of people should think they're the best. Every football team, basketball team, baseball team, you should all think you're the best because racism is a team sport. You should think you're the best. You should tell your children every day before they leave, you're the best. You're number one. You should do that. You should give them a superiority complex. The problem is when you impose an inferiority complex on everybody else. That's what black people are suffering from. It's not white people's supremacy that's our main problem. Our main problem is our feelings of inferiority. That's what we need to deal with. And because of that, you brothers are willing to sit back and let these white girls lead you. You said you're willing to sit back and let this white girl speak on your behalf. And the black women too, which is not as bad, but you still shouldn't let any woman speak on your behalf. And you should only let certain men speak on your behalf. You shouldn't have dudes who don't like women, don't want to get, you shouldn't have the alphabet. You shouldn't let them speak on your behalf because of perspective, do your thing, brother. Do your thing. And I'm not talking about brothers who were criminalized in the criminal justice system. You understand? Yeah. Who became that way because of a crime that was committed in prison against them or because of something that happened to them as a child. That's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the ones who openly chose, this is what I want to do. This is what I like. Okay, brother, God bless you. I disagree with your lifestyle, but you're still my brother. I don't agree with that. I think you should change. I think it's not good for black people, but generally speaking, great. You speak on behalf of that cohort of black men, but you don't speak on behalf of the black men who have women and wives and want children and want our children to grow up and be heterosexual. You can't speak on my behalf. So not every black man can speak on my behalf. I don't want rappers and entertainers and ball players speaking on behalf. Good, God bless you, but your perspective is different than mine. I would rather have well-spoken, intelligent, men who live the same type of life I live and have my same experiences speaking on my behalf. That's what I want. Okay, but even then, ain't nowhere in the conversation, women, especially white women or Latino women, Asian, we don't want them speaking on our behalf. That's your territory, man. Cock your leg up and piss on them trees, man, and claim your turf. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. That's yours. You understand what I'm saying? That's yours. That's yours. I mean, that's damn New Orleans coming out. That's yours, bro. That's yours. You see what I'm saying? That's your territory.
But Uncle D, answer this question though.
Here you go, bro. Go ahead.
Okay, for example, let's break down the nation. What did black people do to the greatest prodigy that Elijah Muhammad produced? Malcolm X. What would have happened if he was successful with the OAU and Muslim Minds Incorporated before the hitters out of New Jersey Minds assassinated him? What would have happened if we wouldn't have killed our own?
What would have happened? Well, here's what you got to understand. You're dealing with a system. Okay, you're dealing with a system of oppression. He was just one individual.
Or should I say, how do we, in real time, deal with our own?
Well,
you know, how do we deal with our own people?
Okay, so we're dealing with a system. So in order to combat that system, you have to create your own systems and your own practices and your own culture that counteract that. Malcolm was just one man. He was just a mouthpiece. He was just a voice. And God bless him. He did what he was supposed to do. But we need infrastructure. And I might need to have a conversation with y'all about infrastructure. You need infrastructure. You need, oh my God.
Because the nation was worth $100 million in 64.
It's been a long week, but
it's all good, Uncle D. We know you tired, baby. We know you tired.
Okay, let me. I mean, we still here. Y'all hit the #1 button if you want to hear my response. Oh, where'd he go, brother? Come on back in here, Joe. We lost Joe. It's always good having Joe in here. But Joe, come back in if you like to. I'm not leaving yet. I'm gonna answer as many questions as I can.
Because you know, you the museum of game. That's you. You the museum of game.
I say again, Black Wall Street.
I say you the museum of game.
Yeah, but
You know?
I mean, it's from building your own business. You see it and running it. You need infrastructure. I was just having this conversation with my son today, and he is 13. I say, son, infrastructure will carry you. You don't want a business or a community built on individual personalities. You want infrastructure. If anything happens to me, there's a couple of lawyers that can take over and pick up where I left off. So it's not individual driven, it's infrastructure. What happens? Well, I got the business, you got the employees, we got this company over here that does the payroll, we got that group over there that does our taxes, we got this source that brings in our referrals. We got these banks over here. So I got a building. You know what I mean? I got a person that deals with my computers. I have computers. I got staff. You see what I mean? I got the furniture I need. That's infrastructure. It's not just Dennis, working out of his car, even though technically that would be infrastructure too. Infrastructure. The link, Joe, the link is right here. I'm putting it back in there for you, Joe. So infrastructure, we need infrastructure. And what does this infrastructure do? Well, what's the opposition? Well, if you got a situation where Black men are unemployed, well, why are they unemployed? Because they're not qualified for the jobs that we have. Okay, infrastructure would be, okay, well, let's get 10 engineers together or 10 techs, I don't know, just 10 plumbers together. And each one of those plumbers, we pay them $500 to be part of this group, and they take 4 Black boys a year who are 18 years old, and they teach them how to be plumbers for 3 months or something like that. And you see what I'm saying? Infrastructure, you got a process in place, you got infrastructure. So you constantly so now what? Now these Black men who didn't have a job before, right? They are now qualified to be plumbers. You understand what I mean? And you could do the same thing with any other thing you can think of. And then and what just happened? Well, hell, you just started a plumber school almost, even though you still would have to go take the test. Infrastructure. You understand what I mean? And now what? Now you've created more Black men who have this skill. Same thing goes with the Black colleges. We needed brothers and sisters to be able to go to school. So our ancestors started 160 some odd Black colleges. We don't utilize those resources. We love running to Alabama and USC. Y'all know them. North Carolina, we love going there. But you can go right down here to one of these HBCUs, man, and get you a doctorate degree, a PhD, a degree in engineering, a degree in mathematics. You can get that. Now, let me tell you who is using these Black colleges. Hispanics, whites, Asians. Go over to one of them schools right now. Go to the nursing school at Southern University. Go to the law school at Grambling State University. Go to the medical school up in Meharry in Tennessee. filled up with with people that don't look like us. You understand what I'm saying? Because they know the value of what you have more so than you do. And if I talk to my friend, if you had 160 some odd instead of historically black university, historically Hispanic university, oh, it'll be over, bro. They'll have them, but it'll be filled up with Hispanic people. You would barely see a black person walking around. They'll be telling, this is our stuff. This is how we do it. But y'all don't even go to your own stuff. Our ancestors set this. You got people on the internet right now telling you not to go to HBCUs. And the vast majority of your richest black people, the most successful black people, lawyers, doctors, whoever, all of them went to HBCUs. So how could you even listen to somebody like that? The white people are going to your schools. It's white dudes right now that are going to your HBCUs and getting law degrees. It's Hispanic people. It's a group of Hispanics, man. They go from the Valley, and anybody familiar with Texas, the Rio Grande Valley, all of them go to Thurgood Marshall at TSU and then go back to the Valley. They've been doing it for generations now. The school almost 100 years old. They'd had 3 or 4 generations of Hispanics come to Thurgood Marshall Law School and go right back down there to their people, making millions of dollars a year. It's a white dude that got a wing at Thurgood Marshall, and his son goes to that school right now. You guys know Texas Southern University? That's a historically black university in the heart of Thurgood Marshall. He got a wing in there named after himself, and his son is in that school right now. You understand what I'm saying? So you have the infrastructure. We got at least 3 black banks. One of them is on Wall Street. Do y'all know the name of that black bank that's on Wall Street?
Freeman's Bank?
No. It's a black bank on Wall Street. You could go buy stock in the black bank right now. Just look it up. Look at black bank. Look up black-owned bank Wall Street, and it'll give you the 3-symbol code, and y'all can invest in that bank. You can invest $300-400 in that bank and become a stockholder in that bank. So you have it all. You have all the pieces you need. Black Wall Street, Joe, Alvin, it's all there. You got the universities, you got the banks. You just got to make them bigger. You got what you need. You have what you need, but you don't. But see, my problem is, brother, y'all just gonna let somebody come in and take over anyway because you don't have unity. You don't. And that's your biggest problem. I'm not the first person to say that. I realize it now. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that 30 years ago. Try unity. That's it, just unity. And that don't mean you have to bash other people from other races. I'm not mad at Jewish people. I support them 100% on looking out for themselves. I support any group of people that looks out for themselves. I am not mad at you for what you do for yourself. Look at the white folk. The white folk come from some of the crappiest part of the earth. Europe, nothing grows there. It's cold, it's ugly. And they've taken over the world and dominated for 500 years. I ain't mad at them for whooping our ass. That's on us if we let them whoop our ass. You get your ass whooped in the street, whose fault is that? You gonna blame the person that whooped your ass in the street? Well, they had bigger weapons. Well, we should have got better weapons when we knew they had better weapons. You understand what I'm saying? See, black men, and you done got me off on. I was trying to leave, man.
Yeah, that's why I say answer the
I know,
question.
but listen. Black men rule this world for 80,000 years. For 80,000 years. And what you're gonna begin to find is that the history that you think you know ain't the history that you know. There's been civilizations that pre-existed, the civilizations that we think are the oldest civilizations right now. We've been dominating this planet for 80,000 years. We've had magnificent civilizations rise and fall. You just don't know about them because you don't have the technology to find them, and your history book is not going to tell you all that, especially about black history. But you dominated this earth for 80,000 years. This white boy comes along, this white man comes along, 500 years, he whooping ass, and now you all in the corner depressed and sad. As opposed to unifying and getting yourself back together and saying, you know what, something in me tells me I deserve better, I can do more. You see? But if you can't do these little things, you're not going to be able to do the big things. See, why would I tell you, brothers, hey, man, I'm about to buy $100,000 worth of property over here in Braddock, Pennsylvania. There's your hint. Y'all was asking, because I can buy a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom, 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house for $3,000. Yeah, come on in and y'all put I got 100 up. You put 10, you put 20, whatever. We'll get some people to come up there. We'll buy 10, 15 houses in a row. Send a crew up there. You see what I'm saying? Let them work up there for 4 or 5 months at a time. Bam, put them all on Section 8. These same little black towns in the Midwest, in Ohio, in Michigan, in Pennsylvania. What do you think? It's supposed to be 1 billion people in this country inside of 50 years. 1 billion people in this country in 50 years. Where the hell they gonna stay? You think they're gonna move to California? Alvin, they gonna move over there with you in California? How much is y'all got enough homeless people that ain't moving in?
I'm out of here.
Where are they gonna move? What's the emptiest part of the United States right now?
The middle.
The middle.
I'm in the middle, baby.
The Rust Belt. What else they call it? The Rust Belt, the Swamp Belt, all of that land up in there. All y'all done moved to Atlanta. Y'all done came goddamn down here to Houston and moved to Atlanta. Y'all done all moved to Atlanta. Y'all left Ohio, Big Mama, Grandmama, all of them. Y'all moving out of Chicago. Y'all moving out of Illinois. All of that is going to be prime real estate. It's cheap. They're giving it away. You take $100,000. Give me 4 or 5 black men. You said, shit, give me 20 or 30 black men, and y'all put $4,000 or $5,000 in, and we hold on to that property and put it in trust for 40 or 50 years. Your ancestors you'd be billionaires. But I can't trust y'all to do it, because one of you Negroes is gonna be like, well, the white man told me you gonna give me $100,000 and I need to get my money. I can't work with y'all. I can't work with you. You have no unity. You have no pride. So why would I even tell you? Why would I even do business with you? You understand what I'm saying? This is where I'm at, brother. We can't even defend the black man. It's called the black manosphere. And you got a white girl running the black. She's the voice of, she got the talking points of the black manosphere. And she doing better than the black men of the black manosphere. If you can't defend that little piece of territory, why would I trust you with a 50-year plan? Soon as they come out with that 2025 Cadillac, you're going to be ready to cash in. You understand what I'm saying? So this is where I'm at, brother. And that's why I love you guys. I love you. I love you, brothers. And I see myself in you. I see my cousins in you. I see my children. I see my friends. And I want so much for you, but y'all you're disappointing sometimes. And I don't ever go in on the brothers, but y'all got to do better, man. And you should see this. This is obvious to me. It's obvious to me. You don't let... Anyway, bro, God bless y'all, man. I'm gonna get up out of here, man. I might get a goddamn drink. This is Uncle D, man. I'm out, man. I love y'all, man.